We're here today to discuss how to leverage the reset moment, how to not just get through COVID, but to create new opportunities and reinvent business as COVID recedes and our world resets. And I'm really delighted to be joined today by Anne Bell, the Managing Director for Thailand of the global facilities management firm PCS, or Property Care Services. And just briefly on your background, prior to this, you held a number of senior roles in the global grocery giant and conglomerate, Tesco, and you were CEO of its Turkish business, COO of its Thai business, and also Chief People Officer for the Tesco Asia region. And just for context, you and I know each other from the work we did together on strategic transformation, innovation leadership, including quite a bit on the entrepreneurial mindset in some of the leaders that you're working with. And I've always been incredibly impressed by the way you've integrated that commercial and the people lens all the way up to the very top of the table in all the business leadership roles you've had. And you were in fact the person who commissioned a piece of work that did just that, integrating the commercial and the leadership lens in Thailand that led to our guest lecture on that at Harvard University a few years ago. So we're incredibly grateful for having had the opportunity and great to be back talking to you.
Definitely. Great to see you too.
And so by the reset moment, we're talking about the opportunity to do business very differently as a result of the disruption that COVID has created. So look, let's kick off. At a broad level, what are the opportunities you think are interesting in that adaptation stage, first of all, the adaptations that'll stick?
Yeah, I think what we've discovered is a lot of the trends that were on an upward curve anyway have just accelerated. So, for example, very clear example would be working from home. And actually, the needs of our clients completely change as a result of that. So whether it's servicing their technology, whether it's providing working environments at home, whether it's helping our clients rescope space within the office industry to be something more useful in the future, all of that now becomes up for grabs. And, actually, personalization, the tech industries would have been talking about for years, the marketing industries would have been talking about for years, but maybe that's now just hit facilities. So maybe actually the mass standard pieces of work we did become much more bespoke, personalized pieces of work that fit around people's new needs.
That's really interesting. And how about on the upheaval side?
I think the situation has gone on for so long now, you can no longer take a defensive stance, feeling that you will weather the storm and then put the puzzle back as it was, because it's just never going to do that. Businesses are unlikely to want to return to the same suite of options. So I think we have discovered many things that are better. If you moved through our sort of cleaning work we do with facilities, I think people now have a much permanently different expectation of hygiene and a permanently different expectation of circulation and movement and airflow. I think the way businesses assess their risk profile and portfolios will change. So definitely one of my first jobs was to understand how much of my portfolio was reliant on tourism versus a domestic economy. I have to change with that. Otherwise, I will become irrelevant. So definitely. Then on a more personal basis, there are some really interesting resets and human appreciation of jobs that had almost become sort of seen but not heard. And actually now it is more intrinsic with someone's brand. And that industry does have a massive opportunity to give everyday people great jobs, actually, and a bit more respect for those everyday jobs in society.
Yep, absolutely. No, that makes 100% sense. And that leads us, I think, nicely into my next question, which was, are there any other opportunities you can see either in your industry or others you're familiar with for companies to break out and into, I think, what Professor Rita McGrath called in her book arenas, where we serve the same need rather than industries?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a great opportunity for collaboration between companies. I mean, we follow the hotel industry into this hospital set of work they will do, where they help people to convalesce. They deal with people post-COVID to relieve the hospitals. They act as vaccination centres, and our facilities management work will move with all of that. So we will move where the work goes.
So when you're thinking about those opportunities, how do you hold on to your guiding star, if you like, while expanding?
There are a number of people we already serve that will get natural growth from this. And I think we will grow with them. So sticking to our core element, but maybe our strategic customer profile changes. I think it's for us, if you were speaking crudely, it would be to follow the money. So we adapt where we see natural growth, and we put our attention into delivering our core services into a different shape of industry growth, and where it goes, we go.
One belief we have at OneLeap is that entrepreneurial activity is not the domain of startups. And what we often find, though, is that they're sitting on what we call unmined gold. There are advantages that have always been there, but they may not yet have been fully leveraged. They just need activating. Is there any unmined gold that you've uncovered as a result of COVID, or you're starting to see that you may have overlooked before?
I think the first place to start is to look in at the culture and say, does this list of rules make sense anymore? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And as you unpick those rules, what you find underneath those things actually are more innovative ways of doing things ourselves that then in turn unlock a more innovative outlook around how we change doing things for our clients and customers.
But if you were to pick 3 top tips for leaders thinking how to leverage the reset moment in large companies, what would they be?
I mean, I think as ever, follow the clients, follow the customer. So forget it about how you do something, is make sure is what you do is still relevant to the customer. So what is the real need, and has the need changed? Mm-hmm. I think the second thing for me is a balance in the portfolio. So I imagine that COVID was on relatively few risk registers. And I think they always say the biggest risks are the risks you didn't know you had. You're only as good as your worst cleaner, or your worst security guard, or your most disenfranchised tech engineer. So I think it's less time in the boardroom and more time out with the teams.
Makes a lot of sense, particularly given what we're just being through, and as we've discussed at the beginning, still going through and will be for some time. So thank you. Incredibly informative and a really interesting and fresh perspective, particularly coming from someone who's had the variety of positions. So thank you again. Anne Bell, Managing Director, PCS Thailand.
Thank you so much. Yep.